Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of year once again. It's January 2nd, 2025. Good year. And it's getting very cold out. It's like -2 degrees and coming up at 7 o'clock. Got dinner in the oven. I'm gonna destroy that. Bundle up all warm. Hat, scarf, gloves, coat, all that jazz. And we're gonna go outside and we're gonna look at one of the most glorious objects in the entire night sky, with its fitting name, the Great Nebula in Orion. We're over here now, clear skies finally, and there's our old friend. Coma corrector here, still doing its job and doing its job well. I'm gonna let this guy sit, but while I do that, I'm gonna wonder how this will look without coma, because the Orion Nebula was another photo that got pretty wrecked by coma or chromatic aberration when I do it. I'd also do it portrait in an effort to get the Running Man Nebula in the photo as well. But I think this time I'm leaning towards doing it landscape and just focusing on the Orion Nebula and making that look as great as I can, rather than trying to do too many things at once. But anyways, I'm gonna go inside for a bit. I'm gonna let this sit and adjust to the temperature, and then we can start shooting. So, as I said, I need the temperatures to equalize. So I'm inside in the lovely warm inside, while my telescope's outside on its own. And I just want to explain what I mean by the temperatures needing to equalize. So it's cold outside. It's really quite cold, and materials like the metal that my telescope's made out of will start to contract and kind of seize up when it's cold. And when that happens, it squeezes on the mirrors or optics, depending on what telescope you have, and it causes the stars to go from a lovely circular shape to a kind of sharp triangular shape. And that's no good. That's not how they look. That's not how the light's actually getting to us. That's just a matter of distortion. So we're giving it like 15-20 minutes, letting the temperatures equalize between the two. Then we can go out and start shooting Orion.
You got it all backwards. Tell me you're living and it's all that's up with you. Haven't spoken in years gone by. All you've done is guard and hide. If it's all just been a little much, get your feet and kick dust, 'cause you got it all backwards, and you're needing me some more. Needing me, but you're shotgunning a 40 face down before me. You knew I would give it all for free. All for free.
Alright, we have found the Orion Nebula. Orion's just up there. There we go. And we're just waiting. And now I'm just waiting on a little test shot to see how we're looking today. And we can see, wow, look at that. It's one light frame. You can see some solid nebulosity. It's not like a little smudge, actual light. But this also shows off how damn bright that core is and how easy that will be overexposed, which is why we're taking two sets of shots. A strategy people use that are far better than I is they'll take a bunch of long exposures on this target to get all of the outer nebulosity, and then they'll take some short exposure to the core and blend the two to get a high dynamic range image that's accurate to how it would look. So that's what we're going to do. Never done it before, maybe a train wreck, but you'll you'll come with me on the journey and you'll see where I go wrong. But yeah, I'm just going to start shooting now because my time is limited. Alright, so we have all our necessary files loaded into Photoshop. I didn't record the serial part of this because my recording software, Bandicam, the free version, doesn't really agree with serial, and it needs me to do a whole lot of editing and just error fixing, and it takes a long time. So all I've done is just some basic stretching and a background extraction in serial, and we've come out with this. This is the starless version after Starnet, which is looking fantastic. A load of detail in these parts down here, some excellent sharpness up here, and this is just a raw, kind of process, you know, nothing major done to it. Here's the one with the stars on it, obviously looks more natural and realistic, and we are here to make something beautiful. So we're going to go on here, I'm going to change this to, why did my voice go weird? We're going to go on here, and we're going to change this to subtract. So we have just the stars, as you can see here, or just the ones that are picked up by the software. We're going to do flatten image, unlock that, and we're going to leave this for the time being. We're going to edit this, and we're going to see what we can do with what we've got. Firstly, we're going to do the standard stuff of decrease the green a little bit, maybe not that much, damn. We're going to go green, a little bit there, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know what I mean? Try and get this colour as neutral as we can, because obviously we don't want that, but we also don't want that, so it's pretty damn neutral. We get more of a pinky colour here, as you can see. Nice. And we're going to go into curves again, just keep it RGB so we can mess around with this stuff. Increase this a little bit, maybe bump this up just a little bit. There we go, look at that. Nice little contrast adjustment, you see? This is really showing me how just gorgeous this date is. This is really good. I have done this image before, and I just wasn't super happy with the result. I was very happy with it, but I know I can do better, and this is already getting my heart going, because this is looking really good. It's really crisp. That's the thing. This is by far the crispest image, and you can see these like little smoky details. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but yeah. Okay, that's real nice. And as you can tell by this, which I mentioned earlier in the video, this core is super bright, so we're gonna have to do something to deal with that. But not to fret, I planned for this. So let me see if we can do any more. No, I don't want to do it too much. What? Okay, let's keep this how it is for now. Going to get a little saturation. How's it look when we bump that up? Not great, that's okay. Because bring this down a little bit and this up a little bit. No, we don't want that. Just seeing what all of these do and how it affects it. Minimizing Bandicam. Okay, so I think the next thing to fix is this guy, core. So we're going to open up the core. I did a separate stretch of a separate batch of photos to achieve a nice crisp image of the core. This needs a little bit more editing. So we're going to go image, adjustments, curves, standard stuff. Drop that green down a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like the purple color. I'm going to curves. Maybe keep something like that. It's kind of nice, you know. No, I don't like it. I prefer this. And then, other thing I want to do, I want to sharpen this. I never really use sharpening in my images because it kind of screwed up the stars a little bit. But I feel like with this we can kind of get away with it a little bit. Just a little bit, like that to that, you know? Big fan of that. Okay. So next, this is where it gets kind of hard. Take this, copy, paste. Bring this above, drop this opacity down to there. So we can move this about. Make sure they're kind of synced up. I see an issue here actually. We're going to need to not do this now. We're going to need to add the stars back in first. That's okay, we can do that. So we're going to go onto here. The stars are quite big and overexposed, obviously because they're much brighter than the nebula, and we want to change that. So we go select, color range, click on this, select all the stars. Oh, that's not quite what I wanted to do. You. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm after. Minimum, I'm going to drop this down. Not by 2, damn. Bring that down, what are you looking like? Yeah, just a little bit less. Alright, let me do this. Let me do Control D. Then we're going to bring this across to you. And make you, is it light and add? Yeah, look at you. Isn't that looking nice now? Damn, that's looking real good. So, here's where it gets kind of interesting. Can I unmerge? If I do merge layers. No. Okay. So we're going to grab the core from you, even though the colors aren't really the same. I should sort out the colors first, realistically, but am I going to? Probably not. Oh, we do need to do freaking thing. Alright, so we've got to sort this out first. The core, we've got to do the core last because it involves messing with this image as one, and right now they're 2 separate images still. So we're going to go on the nebula and we're going to do a little more curves because there's still a like, yeah, there we go, it's looking better. Not losing too much detail there. You're gonna lose some when you're doing something like this, but that is a-okay by me. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. And we're gonna get some noise, reduce noise, mainly just to reduce the color noise. Do 100 down. How are we looking? And the other thing I want to do sharpen. Smart sharpen, just because I know this data is good. Maybe not too much. But just a little cheeky sharpen. Oh, it really does kind of screw up this part, but it doesn't really do much. If I do amount, but bump this down. What if we do lower amount, higher radius? We just crank that up all the way. What happens there? No, I'm not a fan of that. Bring that down. It's kind of nice. Is it doing anything? Alright, we're gonna grab, I think it's time we can, first of all what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this as, and just call it in case I mess up. Because now it's time to flatten the image. This, and now we can bring this guy over. So we want to overlay this with this one in a way that allows us to bring the exposure down to the right amount. Firstly, first challenge of that is making sure these are lined up, which I think it's done for me automatically. Yeah, it has. No, not like that. And then maybe like that. Terrible, 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 terrible time. That's kind of nice. I feel like I've been looking at it too long now. Quite like that. I think I'm happy with that. I think that's good. What a beautiful image.
I'm slowly drifting to you. So stars and planets are calling me. A billion years away from you. I'm on my way. I'm on. I'm on.
Alright, let's talk science. So the Orion Nebula is arguably the most famous deep sky object in the night sky for astrophotographers and normal people alike. It's super bright, super pretty, and photographed by Hubble. Here. So it's a star-forming region in the constellation of Orion, if you hadn't put that one together, and it's located in the center of the dagger or sword of the constellation. So you have the three main stars, which is the kind of telltale sign that you're looking at Orion, and just below those you have another three stars, but going down vertically, and that middle star is actually the Orion Nebula. Specifically, the dot you see is the trapezium cluster, which is four tightly packed stars, which we'll get onto a bit more in a bit, but formed by the nebula, and they're all kind of the same age, super young, super bright, super warm, and just really, really pretty. If you go to dark enough skies, you can start to see that this central star in the dagger is kind of smudgy and that there's a bit more happening there. And even with your naked eye through a telescope, it looks really damn cool. I talked about this a bit in my revisiting my Orion Nebula picture, but it looks like a star with a bit of cloud around it, almost as if somebody's shining a torch in a smoky room. So you can definitely tell you're looking at something that's not really on Earth, and it's kind of cool to look at even with your naked eye. And I live in like Bortle 6, so if I were to go to, middle of the ocean, you'd be able to see kind of proper detail, I think. So, about the object, it is 30 light years across and around 1500 light years away, which means it's relatively kind of close to Earth. I want to say it's located in the Orion arm of the Milky Way, and like I said, super bright. It's got an apparent magnitude of 4.0, which is very bright for deep sky objects. As you know, the lower the number, the higher the brightness is. So super dim objects that you will never be able to see with your naked eye come in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, while something like Venus comes in, I think, like 1 or minus something. I don't know off the top of my head. It is a winter object, arguably the most winter object out there. As soon as you hit spring, which we're in currently, as you can see from that gorgeous sunshine outside, the window on viewing it pretty much shuts immediately. By the time it's dark now, Orion's already on its way down, and your window is very short for observing it, and it's getting closer to the horizon, so it's just going to get worse as time goes on. But as soon as you kind of hit winter and you get to that late November, December time, as soon as it gets pitch black, Orion is perfectly framed up at its peak, far away from the horizon, and looking gorgeous as ever. You can't tell, this is one of my favourite objects in the night sky, as basic as that sounds. It was the first nebula I looked at, as same with everybody else. And I spent kind of a half a year anticipating when I'd be able to see it after I saw the Hercules cluster, which was my first deep sky object. And then I was kind of like, okay, now that I can see this, I'll be able to see Orion, I'll be able to see a nebula. So I kind of waited patiently, and a lot of nostalgia attached to this one, and it's really fun to revisit it with a new set of eyes and new found skill and passion for this hobby. So it's super cool. So this isn't actually the only Messier object in this picture. We have Messier 43, which is the Marian's Nebula, I think I'm saying that right, which is this little guy here. Not quite sure why it was classified as a separate object, because just from looking at it, it looks like just a little nodule coming off the main nebula, but it is actually its own object. It's 9 light years across, and it's about 1,300 light years away, and it is also a star-forming region, but has a magnitude of around 9 point something. It's much smaller, it's very close to the nebula, and it's there's not much to say other than it's just a little star-forming region. And it's kind of cool how it's a very regular circle, which you don't really get in gaseous areas in the night sky, so that's kind of cool. In photographing this object, one of the biggest problems that I'd never had to face in a deep sky object before was the core, because the core is super bright, and you don't really have things ever being too bright in a deep sky object because it's all super dim and you want to get as much light as you can and bring out the fine details. And while you do want to do that with the Orion Nebula to get these outer regions, that core is super bright. It's got a bunch of tightly packed young stars burning really hot and really bright, causing it to immediately get overexposed as soon as you start putting any time into it. So the solution for this, I found, or I've heard, and I was told, I did not discover, was taking 2 batches of pictures. One, not too much exposure, maybe like 20 minutes with shorter exposures, and aiming to get as much detail on the core as possible. I don't know if I've explained that right, but shorter exposures, so you're not letting in as much light and it's not getting overexposed, but you're still getting good detail on the core. Because it's so bright, you don't need as much, if that makes sense. And then you lay them on top of each other and you kind of merge the images. And that's not necessarily to make it look like something it's not, that's just adjusting a camera's way of interpreting light to the reality that is that object. That's the thing, there's an outlook on astrophotography and the use of Photoshop and stuff like this, where it's like, oh, you're faking the image because that's not what it looks like straight out of the camera. But it's in the same way a camera doesn't quite capture what a human eye can see, and color grading and sharpening and stuff like that is needed to match the beauty of the human eye. So think of it more as making it what it actually looks like, rather than creating something that's not there. It's like taking a picture of a dark room. Everything's in there, you just can't see it. It's got to brighten the image, but it is all there. But then you've got like AI and astrophotography, and I'm not getting into that now because I don't know anything about it, and I don't really want to know anything about it. All I know is I'm not going to use it, and I don't think anyone should use it, but that's just me. But yeah, a little bit of a side tangent there. This has been really good. It's really fun to revisit this object, as always. It's kind of a yearly tradition for people. You know, everyone's done the Orion Nebula and everyone ends up coming back to it eventually. But the winter sessions are gonna be short. I've taken so long to finish this video because I have been so busy. I took this picture 2 months ago and I've just been making this video very, very slowly. It's now March 9th. I've just finished a project on another deep sky objects, multiple, little hint, which will be coming out sometime soon, but then we're going on to spring. It was a really horrible winter. It rained for pretty much all of February, and I had some mount issues I needed to fix, so I had a few clear skies go to waste. That's okay though, you know, that's just how it is sometimes. The weather's not great, it never is in England, so the optimistic lists I make of objects I want to observe are never correct, but that's okay, I know that going in. So, spring soon, but a few more videos of winter first, even though it's so sunny and warm now. But thank you all for watching. I really appreciate everybody watching these videos, especially after being gone for a pretty much year. I'm here till June, and then I'm gone again. But stick around while I'm here, and I'll be back again in the future. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely night. Never stop looking up.